On the 19th of May 2025, a gloomy scene appeared. An abandoned house, black crows circling for prey. Inside the derelict house, a man in yellow was tied up and bruised. When he saw Jiang Shan approach with a gun, he panicked and begged, "What do you want to do?" His face was ashen, his pants torn, looking long-starved, tears falling in helplessness. Before he could finish speaking, Jiang Shan raised the gun and attacked immediately without hesitation. The barrel struck his skinny fingers hard. In pain, he screamed, my hand," and writhed continuously. Seeing that, Jiang Shan grew even more annoyed. His face darkened. He gritted his teeth in rage. He sneered with a sigh, calling him shameless. Jiang Shan, a burly captain, radiated killing intent, his eyes red and his actions decisive. Without hesitation, suddenly he asked, "Code name?" "The Lone Wolf." A teammate signaled to comfort Jiang Shan, then told the victim, "Confess now and we might let you die quickly." As he turned away with a cold look, a teammate reminded him, "Enough, Captain, this interrogation is excessive." The angrier he got, the louder he shouted, brushing off the teammate's reminder, "Discipline my ass." In the room, Jiang Shan shouted bitterly, "Did our brothers die in vain? He's hiding in the building." The teammate let go. He still grabbed the man's hair and growled, "Today I'll tear you apart." Rooftop code. The man fell silent, snot and tears streaming, his eyes dazed as if he had lost consciousness. After a while, Jiang Shan and his teammates reached the main door. Behind them lay dozens of bodies blocking the way, only 2 of them enough to deal with those who posed as gangsters. He punched the code out of habit. Apparently the man had already divulged all the information. Before entering, he glanced and signaled to his teammates, "Give me cover." When things looked clear, Jiang Shan kicked the door in and rushed in, pointing his gun straight at the people in the room. The boss, Yellow Hair, had been sitting there for a long time, holding a glass of liquor in a room full of cameras, smiling and greeting them. "Captain Jiang, you finally came." His eyes were deep, his voice low. "You kept me waiting too long." Clearly pleased that Jiang Shan had arrived, Jiang Shan snorted, "Chen Shao, eager to see me, are you?" His demeanor shifted, killing intent rising. The slightest touch to his pride, and he'd tear the man apart. He stared and snarled, "I'll catch you and rip you to pieces for the dogs." The threat silenced Yellow Hair, who showed caution. His lips pursed. He laughed nervously. "Captain Jiang, do you think you're guaranteed victory?" Jiang Shan snapped angrily. "What's there to laugh about? Our reinforcements are on the way, don't expect to get away." The boss's expression changed as he said, "Captain Jiang, you're wrong." He raised the bottle and asserted, "There will be no reinforcements." No sooner had he finished speaking than a gun was pressed to Jiang Shan's head. Unexpectedly, a teammate betrayed them. "Sorry, Captain." Jiang Shan could only stand still, unable to move. The teammate aimed the gun, prompting the boss to stand up comfortably, taunting Jiang Shan, calling him an idiot and saying, "In your next life you'll have time to think about this." Refusing to believe the betrayal, Jiang Shan shouted, "You bastard!" His eyes burned red with hatred. Unable to bear it, he spun around to grab the other man's gun but failed. The scene stunned Jiang Shan. He froze. A loud explosion rang out. In an instant, Jiang Shan collapsed. Blood spraying across the floor, it turned out to be a trap. His eyes, full of hatred, gradually dimmed. Before losing consciousness, Jiang Shan reviewed everything a trap set to eliminate the Dragon Diagram team. The assailant smiled comfortably, watching Jiang Shan die slowly in a pool of blood, and lamented, "We should have shot him back then." Jiang Shan clenched his hands, knowing nothing would change, yet still hoping. He had spent his life fighting crime, unaware that evil was always beside him. He collapsed at the hands of the wicked. He wished he could start over. Enveloped in darkness, he screamed from spiritual pain. In despair, he vowed to kill all those beasts. Blood flowed more heavily from his face. It was unbelievable. He wondered if there was any chance left. As his will faded, he suddenly heard a call. "Classmate." Jiang Shan opened his eyes to see a young boy hurriedly ask, "Are you okay?" "Hi." The student wore a uniform, looking naive and worried as he looked at him. Jiang Shan startled, realizing he had become younger. A fresher face, longer hair, slightly thin. The boy, frightened, hurried to explain, "I'm not a pervert. I just saw you standing still for so long and got worried." Jiang Shan asked awkwardly, "You're a student?" The boy replied in surprise, "Of course, I'm a student." Jiang Shan, disbelieving, pressed him against the wall. "How can there be students in a den of crime?" The boy backed away in fear. Jiang Shan barked, "Is this a school? What's the date and year today?" Seeing Jiang Shan's strange expression, the classmate trembled and reported, "Today is 13421010. Big brother, go see a counselor." While they argued, some students in the restroom panicked because they were injured. The boy stepped aside, The other students skirted away for fear of harm. The classmate thought, he's lost it, while Jiangshan stood pale, pondering. 2010. He remained silent, thinking for a moment. Looking in the mirror, he was stunned to see himself thin and younger, reborn 10 years earlier. He stood agape in shock, unable to believe it. Thinking it was a dream, Jiangshan slapped himself hard. The hard slap made blood trickle from the corner of his mouth. In pain but smiling with satisfaction, Jiangshan vowed revenge. If he survived, those who had to die would be them. Outside, Lin Shi and two girls were chattering about last night's show. The girl with yellow hair excitedly praised, "My brother is so handsome." She suddenly noticed something odd, stopped talking, and turned to see what was happening. Jiangshan's stare made the classmate irritably remind him, "What are you looking at? Don't compliment his looks." The brown-haired girl agreed Jiangshan was clearly a failure in the girl's eyes. They walked off teasing Jiangshan. Someone even had a nosebleed. Lin Shi was different and hurriedly pulled everyone along. "Stop talking. Go shower." The girl glanced back at Jiangshan with a strange look, her cheeks flushed. Jiangshan looked at Lin Shi's silhouette and thought to himself, "Today is 13/4. The image of a bloody slipper flooded his mind. Along with many bloody items, little Jiangshan curled up in the corner of the restroom in despair. The victim was Lin Shi, her body badly injured. Wrapped only in a sheet, it seemed something serious had happened today. Jiangshan's gaze turned terrifying. He sneered and decided, reborn he had a chance, and he'd start over from here. Two female friends were chatting in the changing room. Jiangshan secretly listened in the courtyard. They mentioned a thug at the school gate who was seen yesterday in the next class. Jiangshan walked to the door without hesitation. He calmly asked, "Can I come in to get some water?" He held out a large water container, casually saying the lecture hall across the way had no water. They complained about the school's water outage. Catching him looking, the two girls blushed and warned, "Don't stare around," he replied coldly. "The lone wolf. Is that allowed?" He ignored them and filled the 5-liter jug. He remembered the fateful day in this water room. One of the girls was grumbling, "She's taking too long in the shower." He noted the remark, pressed his lips, waiting for the moment, and wondered, "What time is it?" He checked his watch. 13:10. His face thoughtful there was a coincidence. Suddenly, a girl shouted, "There's a pervert peeking." It turned out a pervert was running around the corridor. Jiangshan flinched slightly and poked his head out. Everything was as planned. He recognized the pervert running up. It was indeed today. Jiangshan's gaze was cold, recalling every fateful minute. He stared at the pervert but let him run through, not stopping him. The pervert seemed excited after his sick act. Exactly 10 years earlier. The memory took him back to the 12th of April 2015, a horrific rape that shocked the school. That day, a pervert hiding in the bathroom was discovered, shattering the school's atmosphere. Jiangshan was there then too. He had once had a chance to stop the tragedy. The pervert looked at him with a terrifying gaze, and he was powerless. At that time, Jiangshan stood frozen in fear, despising himself as the ultimate failure. He curled up in a corner, left only with fear and the broken 5-liter jug, the relic of that year's cowardice. Back then, Jiangshan's eyes were haunted. He could only bow his head and cower like a pitiful puppy. Then the horror happened. He burst into the girl's bathroom, attacked the girl who was showering, leaving the scene full of evidence. The story was quickly forgotten. That girl transferred schools and disappeared without a trace. Although everyone forgot, Jiangshan was tormented. He dropped out and enlisted because of the past trauma. Years later, Jiangshan became a cold warrior, repeatedly reprimanded for actions beyond discipline. His gaze remained sharp, the fire of hatred in his heart never extinguished. He often asked himself, how could those who brutalize and ruin others' lives live so brazenly? He stepped forward coldly, ready to finish off his opponent without hesitation. He was called the Lone Wolf, ruthless, cold, viewing love as a burden. Now the female students poured out in panic, shouting, "Don't let him get away, catch him." Jiangshan stepped forward, pensive. After Rebirth, he must find Xiao Chen and smash his head in. Seeing the crowd, the pervert pulled a knife and threatened, "Stand still. Want to die? Get lost?" His eyes were cold and fierce. Before acting, he wanted to atone for his past life's debt. He gripped the water jug tightly, thinking, to deal with scum, you must answer violence with violence. Without hesitation, he raised the jug high before the crowd. "This time I won't let you get away." A second later, he threw the water jug at the pervert and shouted for everyone to get back. A loud bang, the jug hit the pervert's face. His 5-liter bottle shattered over him, not inside the girl's room. In pain, he screamed desperately, "Who are you? I'll kill you." He stared, wide-eyed, bloodshot, glaring ahead. Before the opponent could react, Jiangshan struck with his foot and lunged at him. In front of everyone, Jiangshan leaped powerfully into the air. In an instant, he launched a kick, straight, at the pervert's head. He was hurled backward, smashing painfully into the wall. Despite the brutal kick, he tried to get up, clutching the knife. Jiangshan stepped forward coldly. You can still stand after that. He assumed a fighting stance, thinking to himself, so cool, need to train harder later. Seeing him step up, the pervert trembled with rage, snarling. Kid. He yelled, die, then charged, swinging the knife in a frenzy. He lunged, but Jiangshan dodged to the side very fluidly. Thanks to his previous life captain skills, he seized the moment and grabbed the attacker's wrist. At the same time, he raised one leg high to the front. Classmates witnessed his superb kick to the pervert's head. After the barrage, the man gradually lost consciousness, blood covering his head, teeth and lips disordered. He fell backward and lay still, dazed. Even so, he still let out a few disgusting groans. Jiangshan glared at him with hatred. He rushed forward and punched him in the face, shouting, bastard. He showed no mercy to this type. This guy had ruined his life in the previous life. A series of punches landed straight on the man's face. His face swelled beyond recognition. Jiangshan grabbed his hair and vowed not to spare him no matter how much time passed. He raised a fist full of hatred, his expression forced but full of disgust. While he was still beating him, Lin Shi's voice rang out. Classmate. Hearing that, Jiangshan looked up at her in puzzlement. Lin Shi, trembling, covered herself with a towel and softly said, stop hitting him. You'll kill him. Jiangshan froze, realizing she was the very girl. She blushed and turned away, whispering, you saved me. That's enough, but don't look at me like that. She exposed part of her chest before him, awkwardly saying, so embarrassing. Jiangshan silently looked at the poor girl, but his heart remained steady, without a hint of lust. Soon after, police cars arrived, lights flashing and sirens wailing. The pervert, face swollen, was arrested by the police. Jiangshan watched while the man pretended he needed the restroom but was told off. Behave yourself. A stern officer approached Jiangshan and said, kid, that dislocation move was professional. He pointed to the pervert's hand and asked, have you trained this before? Jiangshan calmly replied, learned it on TV, just showing off a bit. The officer raised an eyebrow suspiciously. This move is hard even for reconnaissance troops to learn. Does TV teach it too? Then murmured, is that so? He silently tightened his grip, preparing to make a move. Moments later, he suddenly attacked, shouting, does TV teach this? Before the surprise strike, Jiangshan cast a single cold glance that made the man falter. A red, murderous light flashed in Jiangshan's eyes. Jiangshan's presence made the officer sweat and freeze. He said calmly, choking a normal person that way isn't good. Officer? The officer looked at Jiangshan, thinking to himself, such killing instinct. Who exactly are you? Suddenly a pale hand tugged the officer's sleeve, cutting off his thoughts. Lin Shi, wrapped in a towel, stepped forward and spoke for Jiangshan. Officer, don't make things difficult for him. I'll testify. The other guy drew the knife first. She winked at Jiangshan, and the officer could only warn. Anyway, don't kill the guy. Jiangshan fell silent at her earnestness. When everything was over, in the old housing block only one room remained lit. Jiangshan approached and reached for the door. Inside, his mother was setting the table. Jiangshan entered and said, Mom, I'm home. His mother frowned reproachfully. You're only just back? I've been waiting with dinner. She set the table while scolding. Getting worse as you grow, your father spoils you too much. Go wash your hands. Hearing his mother's nagging, Jiangshan choked and called out, Mom. He suddenly hugged his mother from behind. Startled, his mother asked worriedly, What's wrong, child? Are you being bullied? Don't cry. After a while, hot soup and rice were placed on the table. During the meal, his mother asked, You seem off today. Are you unwell? She served him food and asked, Too much academic pressure. He smiled. I'm fine. Don't worry, Mom. He ate while saying, I'll behave better from now on. His mother laughed and waved it off. Stop talking. She smiled kindly. Just be good and finish your studies. Your father will arrange a job for you. She wiped his mouth, talking and smiling. Jiangshan thought silently. Mom likes chatting like this. It's really nice. The moon climbed high as the night breeze gently stirred the curtains. After dinner, Jiangshan flopped onto the bed, quietly longing for peaceful days without the sound of gunfire. He recalled his mother's smile and realized ordinary happiness also required great effort. He thought of the two enemies from his previous life and felt bitter that evil could so easily destroy happiness. He clenched his fist and vowed that this life would change everything. Staring at the family photo, he swore he would live with no regrets. The next morning, at the school gate, Jiangshan politely greeted the security guard and was praised for his courageous act. On the way to class, everyone talked about Jiangshan. 2 female students even complimented him as handsome and strong. A teacher who met him praised him and said the principal would reward him. Seeing this for the first time, Jiangshan thought in surprise, "Just saved someone, and it's such a fuss." He entered the classroom, guessing the situation inside would be no different from the gate. Upon entering, the shout, "It's him," made Jiangshan exasperated. The whole class was gossiping and reenacting his fight like a movie. As soon as he sat down, his deskmate, the short-haired student, excitedly praised, "Those 2 moves of yours yesterday were awesome." Jiangshan smiled and said he'd teach him if he wanted, which made the short-haired student delighted. In front, the yellow-haired guy boiled with rage at the remark. He slammed his pen down on his notebook and snorted coldly. Tianli curled his lip in jealous anger. "It's just a fight. Don't act like it's such a big deal." He stepped forward and slammed it down on Jiangshan's notebook to intimidate him. Jiangshan coldly looked up and asked, "What's the matter?" "Class President Duong." Tianli and Han Chong closed in, asking in a chilly tone, "About yesterday's English homework, you were the only one who didn't turn it in, right, Jiangshan?" Jiangshan pretended to be nonchalant and handed the notebook over, saying sarcastically, "The class president collects work himself? What an honor." Tianli took the notebook, while the short-haired student eagerly asked, "Should we call him a godfather or a master?" Suddenly there was a ripping sound, tear, which startled him. Tianli tore the notebook in half, smiling wickedly. "This assignment doesn't count then." He sneered and ordered, "Do the English assignment again, consider it a punishment." Jiangshan's notebook was shredded by the jerks in an instant. The short-haired student cried out in panic, "Duong Tianli, are you crazy? Why'd you tear Shanzi's work?" Han Chong sneered and said to rewrite it 10 times. Tianli added it must be submitted before dismissal, while Jiangshan remained coldly composed. Seeing his friend bullied, the short-haired student angrily shouted, "Are you guys looking for trouble on purpose?" Han Chong barked over him, "Shut up, the class president is speaking," causing the short-haired student to fall silent, sweat pouring down. Seeing the short-haired student defend him, Jiangshan patted his shoulder reassuringly and said, "I'll redo the assignment." He stared at them coldly and growled, "But you have to apologize." Tianli laughed contemptuously. "Apologize for what?" Jiangshan threw a book up and declared, "Apologize right here in this classroom." The move visibly annoyed Han Chong standing beside him. He raised a fist and shouted, "Watch how you talk to the class president, you bastard." He swung, but Jiangshan easily dodged. Han Chong glared back in irritation. Damn. He really dodged it. At that moment, a short-haired schoolgirl humming carelessly walked over. Han Chong barked, "See how you dodge this time," which drew the girl's attention. Jiangshan dodged the blow, causing Han Chong to lose his balance, and lunged straight at the girl. Seeing the danger, Jiangshan grew serious and gritted his teeth. Jiangshan immediately rushed forward. Luckily, Jiangshan managed to pull the girl out of the way of the punch, only causing her hairpin to fall. He asked worriedly, "Are you okay?" The girl cried but replied, "I'm fine." The girl had a slight scrape on her face and tried to endure the pain, saying, "Just a little scratch." Seeing that, Jiangshan glared at them angrily. "You guys have gone too far." Jiangshan leaped, locked Han Chong's arm, and coldly scolded, "People who hurt the innocent don't deserve to exist." He twisted Han Chong's arm hard, deforming it in an instant. Han Chong screamed in pain, "My arm! My arm!" Seeing this, Tianli picked up a chair and glared, shouting, "Scum, die." As Tianli moved to throw the chair, Jiangshan acted faster. He squeezed Tianli's throat until his face went pale and he dared not move. Jiangshan quickly pinned him tightly against the wall. Jiangshan's face was full of killing intent, his hand raised ready to strike. A voice rang out, breaking the tense atmosphere. "What are you doing, rioting?" causing Jiangshan to stop. It was the disciplinary teacher, beer belly and all, angrily shouting, "Jiangshan, do you think this school belongs to you?" The girl beside him was about to speak up in explanation. "Teacher." It was Han. The teacher cut her off. "Shut up. Jiangshan, come with me to the office." Unfair, because Tianli's father was powerful, Jiangshan had no choice but to follow. The scene shifted to the administrative office. The disciplinary teacher angrily asked, "Why did you cause trouble with Duong Tianli?" Jiangshan calmly replied, "He provoked me on purpose, did I just have to take it?" The teacher sighed. His father is an important official. Even the principal shows him respect. "You'll be the one to suffer." The teacher softened his tone. "Youth is hot-headed, but you must learn to hold back. Now go home and write a self-criticism." Those words didn't trouble Jiangshan. He simply remained silent and let it pass. Cut 2. He stepped out into the schoolyard, sighed, and wondered, "Must I really hold back?" Jiangshan enjoyed the cool breeze, reflecting and telling himself, "The tree wants peace, but the wind won't stop. As he neared the classroom, the short-haired student shouted, "He's back! He's back!" Everyone cheered and gathered around praising him. Hero, amazing. A bottle of water was handed to him, which surprised him a little. It was the girl from before, with a bandage on her cheek, smiling. "Thank you, Jiangshan." He smiled, accepted the water, and replied, "I'm glad you're okay." Han Chong hid behind the door, watching the whole scene closely. He grew angrier, slammed the table and hissed, "Damn it, this kid's getting famous." He turned to Tian Li and hurriedly said, "Class president, won't you do something? I'll call people to deal with him." He even threatened, "Have some guys teach Jiangshan a lesson, or arrange for someone to intercept him after school. I don't believe he can beat 10 people." Unlike him, Tian Li remained calm. "No need. I was reckless earlier. Now that I've cooled down, I see." He put on a look of disdain. Glorifying violence is base, while inwardly, he seethed with jealousy. Driven by envy, Tian Li smiled and loudly told Jiangshan, "The world runs on rules, those who exploit them win." He continued that that's how one becomes a ruler. Then picked up his phone. On the other end, Secretary Zhao answered, "Hello, Tian Li." Tian Li sneered and said, "Uncle Zhao, I have a small favor to ask." He cast a scheming glance at Jiangshan. "How do you get someone sent to a juvenile detention center?" Jiangshan didn't waver and even smiled when he heard it. During break, students in the class went about their own things, reading, chatting, practicing martial arts. The short-haired student imitated a training chant in a hoarse voice, shouting, "Ku! Ha!" He launched a flying kick and asked Jiangshan, "Master, how was that?" He replied worriedly, "Don't overdo it. You might sprain your ankle." Suddenly, a girl in a short skirt appeared at the classroom door, causing the boy erasing the board to stare and ask, "Excuse me." Jiangshan and the short-haired student stopped their practice and turned to look at the girl. The purple-haired girl bashfully asked, "Jiangshan, where's your class?" Her name was Lin Shi. The whole class buzzed. The campus beauty is even prettier in person. How does Jiangshan know her? Jiangshan stood frozen, unresponsive. The short-haired student impatiently reminded him, "What are you spacing out for? She's asking for you, go quickly." In the quiet hallway, the two spoke while keeping their distance. Lin Shi began, "About last time, are you free tonight?" She handed him a business card and said gently, "My father, Lin Zhenbang, is in the Eastern War Zone and wants to meet you to thank you." He suddenly noticed the line, "Lin Zhenbang Eastern Theater." Seeing the bolded name, he was surprised. Lin Zhenbang, is it him? Memories flooded back. When he was in the military, he had met Lin Zhenbang, a young, talented major general who later retired for some reason. Back in the present, he took the card and murmured, "Eradicating evil is my duty. Just tell Commander Lam that." He turned away to avoid trouble, leaving only, "No need to worry about it." Jiangshan quickly returned to class. His heart suddenly heavy. 10 years had passed. The short-haired student asked curiously. He joked it off. "Her father wants me as a son-in-law, is that okay?" The short-haired student took it seriously and muttered with envy. Immediately after, someone reported, "Jiangshan, the principal is calling you up." The messenger was Tian Li, his face dark, voice curt. "Now." In the principal's office, an angry shout rang out. Lawless and shameless. The bureaucratic principal, without hearing the full story, accused him. "If Han Chong dies, you're the murderer." He held up the diagnosis and snorted. "A cracked skull? The ink's not even dry." Seeing his nonchalance, the principal slammed the table and barked, "How dare you doubt the hospital?" He thought to himself, "I didn't even touch his head yesterday. It's clearly Duang Tianli's trick." Seeing his silence, the principal thought he had the upper hand and raised his voice. "Black on white paper, what are you arguing about?" He braced his hands on the desk and replied coldly, "Then let me go to the hospital and see who's wrong, me or you." The principal broke into a sweat, while he warned coolly, "You should be careful, Duang Tianli's father won't shield him forever." The man stammered, pointing, You... Secretly frightened, this kid was too sharp. Suddenly, a loud knock sounded at the door, drawing everyone's attention. Police burst in, their voices cold. "Jiangshan, you're suspected of intentional assault. Come with us to the station for questioning." Seeing Jiangshan arrested, Tian Li laughed disdainfully, full of satisfaction. He glanced at Jiangshan and raised an eyebrow provocatively. "You think you can handle messing with me?" As he was escorted away, Tian Li arrogantly waved goodbye, but Jiangshan only smiled coldly. "Don't be hasty. The real show is yet to come." In the interrogation room, Jiangshan calmly listened as the officer growled that Han Chong had 3 broken ribs. The officer pointed to the report and pressured him to confess, because the injuries were clearly documented. The policeman shouted angrily, his face fierce. Confess, why did you beat your classmate so brutally? Jiang Shan said coldly. Instead of grilling me, why not check the money transfer history on Han Chong's phone? When further pressed, Jiang Shan answered firmly. Wait for my lawyer, until then I remain silent. The officer was left speechless, and Jiang Shan smiled, pointing at the camera. It's not on, right? Because there's no arrest warrant yet? He exposed every fault of the two officers. Shabby uniforms, no paperwork, bungled procedures. Jiang Shan sneered contemptuously. Does the police department only hire incompetents now? One officer, trembling, whispered. Who is he that knows the inner workings like that? He said coldly. Call your superiors out. Let's have this handled properly. At that moment, a hoarse voice sounded outside the door. The two officers hurriedly bowed. Good day, Chief. The visitor was Dong Li, the police chief. He gave a thin smile. Rules don't bind everyone, kid. Dong Li offered a paper, advising, You've picked the wrong person, sign this and it'll smooth things over. Jiang Shan remained silent as he looked at the paper, while Dong Li blandly said, We've negotiated a 3-year reduction for you already. He laughed with contempt. Flattering Duong Tianli's father that much? Let me guess. He spoke bluntly, leaving Dong Li stunned. You're probably only a deputy chief trying to climb the ladder, huh? He smiled coldly. Those who rise by tricks will fall sooner or later, and when you fall it'll break your bones. Dong Li snapped, trembling. Shut up. His face flushed with anger as he shouted, Close your mouth. Dong Li grabbed Jiang Shan by the collar, snarling. You brat, think I won't dare lay hands on you. He remained calm. An officer knocked. Chief, there's a call from the theater command. Dong Li frowned. Who authorized a call now? Hearing that, Jiang Shan gave a faint smile, while Dong Li went pale, loosening his grip and stammering. The theater command. He feigned politeness. No problem. Chief, take the call. I'll wait. His tone sent a chill down the spine. Dong Li went deathly white, sweat pouring, thinking in panic. Why would the theater command call right now? Could it be because of that kid? Seeing him frozen, Jiang Shan curled a lip and asked, Well, aren't you going to answer? A cold voice came through the line. Release him at once. This is an order. No one dared object. Dong Li, who had been arrogant moments before, now trembled and stammered. But the procedures. The door swung open and a young officer entered, phone in hand, frowning. What a nuisance, the scarred man said coldly. Dealing with bureaucrats like you is exhausting. He was He Changshan, Lin Zhenbang's chief of staff. Dong Li turned pale with fear but tried to stay tough. How did you barge in like this? The procedures aren't right. Changshan frowned, irritated. Every time you open your mouth it's procedures. Procedures. I'm sick of it. He drew his gun and aimed it at Dong Li's head, growling. This is my procedure. After that intimidation, the group immediately moved into the interrogation room. Dong Li bowed his head and pointed at Jiang Shan, who sat unfazed. Report. He's innocent. There's nothing to it. Changshan barked. You arrest people for nothing. Big nerve. How dare you touch Colonel Lam's man? Dong Li went pale and flustered. It's a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding. Seeing things settled, he breathed a sigh of relief and his gaze grew more confident late, but still in time. Before being taken, Jiang Shan had given Lin Zhenbang's business card to the short-haired student, who curiously asked what it was. Before leaving, he instructed carefully. If I don't return, call the number on the card. Thinking back, he admired himself for being cautious, otherwise he would have fallen into Duong Tianli's trap. Changshan handed a release form for Dong Li to sign. After being threatened, he obediently complied. Dong Li signed in anger, silently cursing Changshan as a madman for daring to draw a gun inside the station. After signing, Dong Li forced a smile as he handed over the paper, thinking to himself that the Yang family had met a major rival, this time the powerful Lam family in the capital. Dong Li understood he needed to ingratiate himself with Jiang Shan, someone backed by the military. Absolutely not ordinary. After being taken back by the military, Jiang Shan asked Changshan whether drawing the gun would be considered a disciplinary violation. Changshan snapped. It wasn't loaded. So what's the violation? If you don't mention it and I don't, who would know? Drive on. Understood. Changshan smiled and shook his hand, thanking Jiang Shan for saving the commander's daughter. Jiang Shan replied modestly that both sides could call it even, but Changshan laughed it off. Business is business. Curious about Jiang Shan, Changshan proposed a strength test, saying Shi-Er had praised his martial skills and he wanted to try. Smiling, Changshan suddenly squeezed his hand tightly to test his strength. Jiang Shan looked him straight in the eye and said, Uncle, want to test me? Changshan still smiled insincerely and denied it. Just joking. Changshan raised his hand to strike, eager to test the young man further. Changshan suddenly swung at his shoulder. Changshan leaned away to avoid it, prompting the man to laugh and praise. Nice dodge. Changshan counterattacked but missed. Changshan laughed loudly. I can dodge too, you know. The driver watched the two sparring in the vehicle helplessly, and Changshan chuckled. This kid is really interesting. Suddenly, the driver cried out in alarm. Danger! A soldier quickly reported a checkpoint ahead, causing both to stop fighting and exclaim in surprise. What? The car passed the checkpoint, and Changshan rolled down the window to salute the soldier. Thanks for your hard work. Changshan breathed a sigh of relief at not being discovered, while Changshan wondered why he had to worry he wasn't the one under scrutiny. After a long drive, the car arrived. Changshan went ahead, opened the door and said, The commander is waiting upstairs, please. Looking at Changshan's back, Changshan involuntarily shivered. Changshan rubbed his shoulder, angry over his stinging defeat. A soldier asked, Did you lose, sir? He turned red and barked, Go fetch the rose oil. Quickly, Changshan followed the indicated direction and stopped at the door. He entered the room and politely greeted. Uncle Lam? Lin Jinbang was majestic and composed. He smiled and said, You're Xiaojiang's friend? Finally we meet. Jinbang poured tea and invited him, opening the conversation. Have some. Changshan thanked him, but Jinbang waved it off. I'm the one who should thank you, he said thoughtfully. I only have my daughter Lin Shi. If it weren't for you, I would have lost her. Changshan modestly. I only did what needed to be done. You're flattering me. Jinbang smiled in praise. Facing someone with a knife and still advancing, I greatly admire your courage. After their talk, he pushed a dossier across. Take a look at this. Changshan read the documents as the man said. Deputy Magistrate Duang has been uneasy lately. In the file there was a photo of Duang Tianli. He continued. If you want a healthy tree, he said coldly, you must prune its branches regularly. He reassured him. You suffered today, but the Yang family's time is nearly up. Jiangshan froze as memory suddenly surged back. He clearly remembered that in his previous life, Duang Tianli's father was arrested at this very time. At that time, the $6 million embezzlement vanished mysteriously. There were rumors that a garbage collector found millions, and it wasn't until 2024 that it was discovered in the abandoned Duang house. Seeing him silent, Jinbang asked, Jiang's friend, what do you think? Jiangshan smiled, his interest plainly showing on his face. He gave a faint smile and lifted the file. I just wonder, what if Deputy Magistrate Duang's house was robbed? In the bedroom, the clock showed 3 a.m. Jiangshan reached out and turned off the noisy alarm. Out of habit, he put his wristwatch on. He took the suitcase he had prepared from the closet. He dressed in black, put on a black cap, and smiled confidently before the trip. Seeing his mother still asleep after a late movie night, he stepped out quietly so as not to wake her. His mother muttered in her sleep, complaining about the two of them being frivolous. At the door, he still heard her sleep talk. Come home early from school, which made him smile and nod instinctively. The scene shifted to the Duang mansion under the moonlight. Seeing the dense camera system, Jiangshan couldn't help but be amazed. He avoided the cameras and slipped into a blind spot. As expected of a corrupt official, the defenses were thorough. After searching for a while, Jiangshan stopped before a high wall, observing carefully before acting. Time was tight. He checked his watch to prepare to time it. The moment came. He leaped forward with a strong jump. In the blink of an eye, he landed lightly on the other side. Safe. He breathed a sigh of relief. He scanned the courtyard, recalling that in his past life, only an overlooked decorative item had been mentioned. He wondered, where would such a large sum be hidden? Does a fountain count as a decorative piece? Suddenly, he fixed his gaze on the fountain before him. He noticed something unusual about the fountain. Jiangshan approached the fountain, puzzled that it was still running at midnight. He froze, as if he'd discovered something. After a moment, the security guard's sigh echoed. The guard, holding a lamp, patrolled and complained about having to do the night shift at the deputy district chief's house. He felt something was off, his expression briefly tense. He turned and shouted loudly, Who's there? Before him was only a small white cat. Seeing nothing else, he sighed in relief and turned away. The white cat also sensed something behind it. It panicked when it saw Jiangshan step out from the fountain. He looked at the chest hidden under the fountain, silently marveling at his luck in finding it. He checked quickly. The amount reached 6 million yuan. His backpack wasn't big enough to hold it all. He noticed a plant trolley nearby. He put the money bag on the trolley and began to push it. While pushing the money, he pondered what to use it for, buy a house or invest. He was lost in happy thoughts as he walked. Suddenly, a gold car sped by and slammed to a stop. Tianli stepped out of the car, muttering and sneering that Jiangshan would end up in prison. Seeing the black bag, he frowned and insulted Jiangshan like he was trash. But immediately after, he froze. It wasn't trash. He panicked when he discovered there was money in the black bag. The stranger itched his head. Am I drunk? Why is there a bag of money here? While he was still pondering, Jiangshan suddenly appeared from behind and struck. Realizing he'd been seen, Jiangshan was annoyed. Look at yourself before you insult others. He stepped forward and berated the lying Tianli. You can't even drive, and you're drunk. A spoilt rich kid through and through. Unable to restrain himself, he kicked him square in the head, recalling his mother's words that the father and son were good for nothing. He pulled out the knife he kept in his backpack. Holding the knife, a plan formed in his mind. His gaze was menacing. He didn't want to kill, only to teach him a lesson. He grabbed Tianli's head and raised the knife toward him. Strands of hair fell slowly to the ground. When he finished, he stretched wearily, surprised at how tiring the meticulous work had been. Tianli's head looked ruined, hair strewn across the floor. He chuckled and continued pushing the money trolley, hoping the class president would like it when he woke up. The next morning, his mother shouted through the apartment complex. His mother stood at the door urging, "Get up," and he called back from the room. 5 more minutes. Worried, his mother warned, "If you're late, you won't have time to eat." She also had to go to the temple. She recounted, the kitchen knife was full of hair, the floor was wet, and there were noises at night, maybe a thief or a ghost. Jiangshan pretended to be calm. His mother kept calling, and he thought to himself, Mom is the best detective. The next morning, cheerful humming echoed through the building. The night security guard walked thinking how his job was just waiting for the shift to end. He wished there was nothing to do. Suddenly he froze, as if he'd noticed something. Seeing someone lying on the ground, he angrily kicked and shouted, "Found a drunk bum early in the morning? Move along and die somewhere else?" Tianli woke up and angrily retorted, "How dare you be rude to the young master?" The guard was about to scold him more, but, realizing he was young Master Yang, panicked and changed his tone. Tianli rubbed his head annoyed. Shouting so early gives me a headache. He looked at his hands, feeling something odd and unfamiliar. He bent down and saw his hair scattered on the ground. Shaking with rage, he ground his teeth and demanded, "Who did this?" Clenching his fists and red-faced, he shouted, "I'll have you killed, whoever you are." Tianli put on his glasses and ran home in fury. "If you catch one, catch another. You and your whole family will go to prison with Jiangshan." He burst into the house, yelling, "Dad, I'm being bullied. Find them and deal with them. Shoot them." Tianli froze and looked into the house. "Dad." Sweat broke out on his brow as he panicked. How could this be? He saw his father being led away by 2 men. Head bowed, he didn't understand what was happening. Tianli grabbed his father's hand, pleading, "Don't go with them. Who are you? On what grounds are you arresting my father? Release him, or you'll be prosecuted." One man asked, "Are you Duong Tian's friend?" Tianli glared and replied, "Yes, that's me." "Why?" The man held up a badge. "Anti-Corruption Bureau. Your father is suspected of serious disciplinary violations. You're requested to cooperate with the investigation." Tianli's face went pale. Disbelief. "What?" His father bowed his head and walked away, whispering, "Tianli, this time I can't help you." Tianli choked as he watched them go, answering only, "Yes." Then he burst into tears and shouted, "No!" The scene cut to school, someone calling, "Hey, Shanzi." The short-haired student shook Jiangshan. "Get up, something's happened." Duong Tianli's father was arrested, Jiangshan replied lightly. "Oh." The short-haired student, surprised, "Oh, how? Aren't you shocked?" Jiangshan answered calmly, "Do evil and you'll reap the consequences. What's strange about that?" "Quiet. I'm sleepy." The short-haired student asked, "What did you do last night to be so tired? You still smell damp." Jiangshan replied nonchalantly, "Went fishing in the river. Caught a fish over 100 jin." The short-haired student jumped. "Fishing is banned. Watch out you don't get arrested." Those words reminded him of his previous life, the political storm that swept the whole city. Unexpectedly, Duong Tianli's father was arrested sooner. The domino effect could cause chaos from afar. Having been reborn, he could alter the old timeline a bit. He hesitated but put larger concerns aside for now. The practical question was, what to spend 600,000 on? Recalling the past, he realized the goal was revenge. The money must serve that. But 600,000 wasn't enough to found an organization to oppose Xiao Chen. Jiangshan looked at the building and decided, invest to generate profit. For example, buy a building and rent it out. He sighed. Used to being poor, the most practical solution was to become a landlord. He stepped into a dark alley, regretting. If only he'd studied harder before. Suddenly he saw a gang beating a young man, cursing brutally. He remarked the neighborhood security was poor. He stopped, leaned against the wall, thinking, this is the quickest route, so he'll wait until they're done. The thugs kept beating the student and forced him to hand over money. He begged because he truly had none. The beaten man was Dong Li. He clutched his head and begged for mercy. Jiang Shan recognized him as Dong Li, an official, yet even he was being oppressed by thugs. What a shame. One thug raised a club, threatening him. He barked and swung the club hard, sending Dong Li crashing to the side. Dong Li's eyes rolled, his body convulsed. He gradually lost consciousness. The thugs crouched down to check, wondering if he was dead. The one who'd hit him raised the club again, intending to strike to make sure. At that moment, someone rushed over quickly. The thug froze, not yet understanding what was happening. Jiang Shan gave him no chance to react. He immediately delivered a kick that twisted the thug's face sharply to one side. The others rushed forward to help him and then turned to curse Jiang Shan in anger. Dong Li struggled to stand and, choking, called out, "You?" Recognizing him, he widened his eyes in horror. Jiang Shan. Jiang Shan smiled mockingly. "Fancy meeting you, Director Dong. Office too boring, so you came down to the drains to play." Now facing someone he had once bullied, Dong Li now crouched and lowered his voice, asking, "Jiang Shan, why are you here?" Jiang Shan calmly twirled his hand. The director turned out like this. He avoided his gaze and muttered, I was disguised doing an inspection." Jiang Shan helped him up, sneering, "What kind of undercover work leaves your teeth about to fall out? You really don't know how to be security." Dong Li suggested Jiang Shan join the field as a bodyguard, but Jiang Shan only laughed. "No thanks, I have other matters." He hurriedly nodded, invited him into the car to discuss it, and lavished compliments. A while later, in the car, Dong Li shook his head. "Those kids hit hard indeed. They're teenagers. When they get heated, they forget the consequences." Jiang Shan asked back, "Are you talking about me?" Which made Dong Li pause, remembering he was only in his teens. He pretended to be cheerful. "You're a young hero, lucky to have you. Otherwise I'd be done for." Jiang Shan cautioned, "Don't talk nonsense. Public security in the old neighborhood needs reform, or it'll remain a problem." Dong Li nodded. "It needs reform. Can't be neglected." But regarding Chief Lin, Jiang Shan said, "Uncle Lin cares about security. To get promoted, it's not enough to disguise yourself. You need real achievements." He looked at Jiang Shan helplessly. "You mean, first focus on driving?" Jiang Shan continued. "I also see an opportunity to get rich." He wondered, "An opportunity to get rich? But we're short on trustworthy partners." Jiang Shan explained. "The old eastern neighborhood is about to be relocated." Even while driving, Dong Li listened intently. "Relocated? What do you mean?" He panicked. "You prepared a plan in advance? Watch your route. Don't fail before you even start." He looked at the road, flustered. "What you're talking about is a large sum, but I don't have connections." Jiang Shan was confident. "I have the money. I'll handle the connections. I only need someone to manage things properly and legally." He smiled and made the offer. "Dong Li, want to make some money for retirement?" He went pale and shivered slightly. Finally he nodded. "You're my nephew. Tell me what you want." "Happy to cooperate." Dong Li asked, "How did you know about the relocation?" Jiang Shan teased. "Guess then," making him laugh. The next day, during morning study period, everyone hurried. The whole class laughed and joked boisterously. A heavy knock on the door silenced the entire class. He walked up and called, "Jiang Shan," startling the short-haired student. Tian Li pulled a cloth over his head and fell to his knees before Jiang Shan. He cried and apologized, admitting he was wrong before. He clung to him, pleading with Jiang Shan to help save his father, promising to do anything. As he was about to kowtow, the cloth on his head slipped off, revealing his smooth, shaved head in the middle of the class. The whole class burst into mocking laughter. Did the class president become a monk or start a new life? Tian Li covered his head, angrily scolding everyone for teasing him. Jiang Shan paid no attention to his words, only surprised that he had shaved his entire head. Tian Li regretted letting the barber ruin his head. Jiang Shan told him to stand up. Men shouldn't kneel and cry like that. He brightened, pleading, "Please help me." Jiang Shan waved him off and reminded him, "It's lawful for your father to be imprisoned. You know what he did." Jiang Shan coldly said, "Instead of seeking connections, you should cooperate with the investigation. Now go to class." Tian Li stood dazed, tears streaming down his face. He wiped his tears himself. Then he left, threatening Jiang Shan. "Don't expect to get back what I lost." The short-haired student tugged his sleeve, asking, "Did you shave his head?" That night at the boarding house, Brother Yang urged, "It must be done today." Although they were beaten the other day and 2 of them remained hospitalized, Tian Li barked, "Quiet, grab the stuff quickly." His two underlings used fire to light the alcohol. The other man worriedly asked, "Brother Yang, is this okay?" "Usually small fights are fine, but arson is a serious crime." Tianli put on a threatening face. "What are you afraid of? It's an accidental fire, understand?" It turned out they chose Jiangshan's house as the target, intending to burn everything. Family, money, honor, Jiangshan, all to hell. As the underling was about to throw the alcohol, a voice behind shouted, "Welcome." Jiangshan sat on a tree branch, pretending to ask, "Class President Duong." Not sleeping in the middle of the night and coming to my house to woo me, he panicked and turned around. "Who is it?" Jiangshan said. "It's me. Fancy meeting you again." He looked up, stammering in fear. Jiangshan, he asked in panic, while Jiangshan just stood smiling, not answering. He grew more terrified and ordered his men to rush forward. But the addict awkwardly reminded him, "He beat us yesterday." Tianli widened his eyes. "How have I treated you? Now's the time to repay me." They pushed each other. "Weird-haired guy go first. My head hurts." "Skinny monkey go." Awkwardly, no one dared to charge. Jiangshan sighed in boredom. "What's the point of arguing? Whoever goes first, it's the same." He said, "Because the outcome is the same," then jumped down to attack. He picked Weird-haired guy as his first target. He lunged and punched straight into his mouth. Weird-haired guy took the punch, his nose immediately gushing blood. Jiangshan was cold, his gaze resolute, without hesitation. As the first man collapsed, the bottle of alcohol he was holding fell and shattered. Tianli turned back angrily. "My turn? Me." He hesitated, looking at Jiangshan coldly, too afraid to act. Finally, he bolted, remembering he hadn't turned off the gas at young Master Yang's house. He stood at the back, muttering, "Hey, ungrateful bastard, you'll pay for this." Jiangshan stepped forward, frowning. "Where are you looking?" He looked at Tianli with a murderous gaze. Tianli trembled, uncertain whether to strike or not. Finally, he decided to confront him, threatening, "Don't come near, I'll burn you alive." But before he could throw it, he had already grabbed his wrist surprisingly fast. He was fairly strong. Alone, he couldn't win. He begged, "Wait, I'm joking. We're all classmates." Jiangshan gave a cold smile. "Classmates? Then do me one favor, keep the peace." He complied. He was flustered, tears falling, not understanding. After saying that, Jiangshan hooked his chin, telling him to shut up and be responsible for waking his mother. Struck, he rolled and cried, threatening to call the police. Jiangshan laughed and hit him again. Crying is causing a disturbance too. Soon after, the neighborhood orderly's police car arrived. Dong Li stepped out, pointed, and ordered, "There's a criminal here, arrest that bald guy immediately." Tian Li blinked. "Arrest me? Are you blind?" An officer grabbed his arm and barked. "Don't move," he protested. "He was the one who hit me and even broke my leg." He shouted, "Dong Li, you're ungrateful. My father supported you." Dong Li replied calmly, "Young Master Yang, it seems you haven't learned how to behave in office politics. What's important is choosing the right side at the right time," he warned. "If you don't observe clearly, you'll bring disaster on yourself." Then he ordered Tian Li taken away, leaving him resentful. A policeman slapped him for his insolence. Dong Li smiled. "It's been a hard night. Let me arrange some things so you can rest." Jiangshan reminded him. "Go to bed early, there's important work tomorrow." The next morning, at a desolate housing area, their feet got dirty wherever they walked. Dong Li complained. "Bumpy roads? This rundown place won't fetch much even if demolished. How can it develop?" Jiangshan recalled. "In a past life, this place produced 17 millionaires." Then he added, "One more insider tip for you." He wondered. "A satellite city," Jiangshan explained. "This area will become a high-tech industrial satellite. Land prices will rise. Compensation will increase." Dong Li laughed approvingly. "If you know this, you're following the right person." He smiled. "Let's cooperate to take a big slice from this land." He said, "Let's go, Chief Dong. There are more places to see." He hurried after him. Soon they entered a small bar with a for sale sign. Jiangshan approached and asked, "Boss, sign here 500,000 for you." Dong Li glanced around and commented, "This bar is decent." The boss hesitated when asked why he was selling. He said, "My son is in debt. Creditors come to the house daily. If he doesn't pay, the place will be mortgaged." Dong Li frowned. "What?" Truly an unfilial son, Jiangshan suspected. "Something's off. The debt collection timing coincides with the demolition schedule." He asked, "Boss, who did your son borrow money from?" He replied in a low voice, "Only Chen Jin Hu. Master Hu." He explained, "Strangely, the collector cares more about the shop than the debt, afraid something will happen, so I'm selling in a hurry." Jiangshan smiled. Ah, so that's it. He told Dong Li, keep this contract safe. The boss offered a drink. He coldly said, now's not the time to relax. Jiangshan smiled faintly. Someone like us is waiting for the east wind, a coquettish female voice sounded. Master Hu, look at him. She lay on the bed wearing lace stockings, making Jiangshan feel this shabby street couldn't compare to the beauty before him. He inhaled his cigarette and said wearily, what do you know? She propped up. You're the king. So I'm the queen then. He sneered. You? This tiger-like man is Chen Jinhu, the Night King who has dominated Jiang City for over 20 years. Casinos, loan sharking, mortgages, transport. His power spread across the city. Some called him Chen Ban Cheng. They said that after midnight he truly became the lord of the city. Cut to a black car rolling through the rain. Dong Li whispered to Jiang Shan. Little Jiang, Chen Jinhu is a mad dog. If he sets his sights on this, he'll ruin the pie. He added timidly. Moreover, he has ties to the Chen clan in the capital. Hearing that, Jiang Shan flinched. The Chen clan. He recalled the gang that betrayed him in his previous life. And their ringleader. Yellow hair guy. He sneered. You beasts, finally some news from you. He smiled faintly. Dong Li asked, well, you know the Chen clan? He replied coldly. A little. He admitted. Yes, Chen Jinhu is just a mad dog raised by the Chen clan. His gaze chilled. If he dares to act, I'll cut off his claws. He instructed, Old Dong, focus on finding someone to take over the building. I'll pay. Leave the rest to me. Jiang Shan stared into the distance, thinking, grudges with the Chen clan, this time I'll reap a little profit first. At the same time, at Jinhu's place, he shouted furiously. What did you say? The tavern on the old street had been snatched. A subordinate trembled. Yes, Ding said the old man sold the house. Jinhu flew into a rage and punched the man's face. What kind of reason is this? Setting up, dealing drugs, and yet it was taken. What kind of business are you running? His voice rang out the door. Investigate who did this and make them answer to me. At that moment, the sly-faced man appeared, the guards urging, Manager, you're finally here. Master Hu is furious. The man stepped in, holding up a photo. Master Hu, calm down. This is under investigation. Look at this photo. The subject is a student. Alongside is Dong Li. Jiangshan's face is clearly visible on the phone. Jinhu bristled. Dong Da Pao. He's always flattering the Yang family. Now the Yangs have fallen from power, and you still can't deal with him. Who is this student? He asked. The man replied. There seems to be no information on him. Jinhu ordered. Dong Da Pao. Investigate this student. Get full information within 3 days. Do not confront him directly. Turning to his underling. Pretty book boy. Bring him to the bar and see what the other side will do next. He threatened viciously. If he stirs up trouble again, I'll castrate you and turn you into a duck. At the same time, in the small bar across the way, Jiang Shan led the short-haired student along. The boy went pale and gripped his hand. Shanzi, what's wrong? The short-haired student said, This is Chen Jinhu's turf. I heard he's terrifying. Jiang Shan released his hand and stepped on. What are you afraid of? Just follow the plan. He reminded the short-haired student. Stand right here, don't go anywhere, play on your phone and time will pass quickly. Jiang Shan confidently said, If there's danger, I'll take it on. You'll be fine. The short-haired student timidly avoided his gaze, worried because he was young to come to such a decadent, luxurious place. Jiang Shan murmured, Oh, so you don't want the new game console? Go home and stay safe. Hearing that, the boy breathed out and gave a light smile to the short-haired student. He went in himself, carefully concealed himself, and waited for his signal. Looking at the sign, he smiled inwardly. Hidden Emperor, today I'm coming to see you. He stood nonchalantly and taunted. Don't disappoint me. Jiang Shan went to the back of the bar. From past life experience, he knew the secret door. Then he knocked on the door. A middle-aged man suddenly poked his head out. The man said sternly, No business tonight, move along. He recognized that as the signal from the papers. He replied inwardly, Whether business happens depends on luck, then it's settled. The man silently watched him for a moment. Finally, he opened the door and greeted, Welcome. First time here. Jiang Shan tossed a handful of documents at him. You must be familiar with this, right? He asked. Any fun games? Show me around. The man smiled, hugged the papers and answered, Yes. Yes. Then he clapped 3 times, his expression cold. The claps summoned the hostesses. The handsome boy invited him inside. A pleading voice rang out, Please, please. A man begged for money to change his luck, but the staff coldly said, Get out. Security, drag him out. Sister Rabbit told him, This one is so unlucky. While you're drowning in luck, you'll probably make a big haul tonight. Jiang Shan snorted. Gambling isn't about luck, Sister Rabbit asked curiously. Then what is it? He asked Sister Rabbit. You know more than I do. Then he went to the counter. Exchange for 100,000 in chips, the clerk replied. Yes, sir. The clerk handed him a stack of chips. Good luck. Jiang Shan smiled. Luck? Gambling is psychological warfare. The show only needs a bit of luck. Inside, the staff invited him to sit. Jiang Shan approached and took a seat at the table. The dealer announced. It's my turn to deal. Jiang Shan looked at his cards. Ace of hearts, king of spades, queen of clubs, no straight flush but a good hand. He observed the man beside him, assessing the situation. The fat guy's hands twitched, his face tense, his hand was probably strong. The long-haired man looked cold, but his pinky nail was suspiciously long. He might be marking the cards. The dealer asked, Anyone want to raise? Two people eagerly. Call, +5. The dealer asked Jiang Shan. And you? Jiang Shan went all in, shocking everyone. The fat man turned pale. He went all in. Does he have such a good hand? Even the skinny guy was afraid and didn't dare speak up. Jiang Shan feigned naivety. Deal the cards, it's my first time. A big bet should be better, right? The dealer smiled. You could say that. Don't worry. They bowed their heads and announced. The chips from this round belong to him. They flipped the cards, and everyone was stunned when Jiang Shan had only 21 points. They realized their hands were smaller, thought it was a flush, and had been tricked. Jiang Shan gleefully moved to another table. The old trick wouldn't work again. Sister Rabbit eagerly. You've won so much, you're really on a hot streak. Sister Rabbit offered a drink. Jiang Shan declined. No thanks, I still have school. Sister Rabbit puzzled. Is there a faster way to play? Sister Rabbit, annoyed but instructed. Want a thrill? Try this game. Moving to another betting floor, Jiang Shan silently hoped for luck. The clatter of dice echoed. Jiang Shan analyzed. Frequency of 4, 5, 6. The sound was slightly low. He realized. Last time, the dice came up, 6. A staff member smiled. Those who haven't bet, hurry up, raise your hand when done. Jiang Shan continued to bet big. He wagered everything, alarming the staff. All in again? This kid's won so many rounds. The dice revealed a 6. Jiang Shan was incredibly lucky. A staff member grumbled. Strange. He doesn't have any lucky charms yet, he's so precise. Jiang Shan urged. Hurry up, win quickly so I can go home and sleep early. The staff forced a smile, thinking, win quickly? What does he mean by that? He fretted. If you win so fast, how will I explain this to my boss? Someone watching the screen wondered. Where on earth did this guy come from? Jin Hu, angry, crushed the controller. This isn't a charity. Know the rules and stop. He ordered to call the Japanese girl up. Bring her here. Jiang Shan kept winning continuously, not stopping. Gamblers gathered to watch. He's won millions already, truly a gambling god. Seeing the staff cry, everyone was surprised. First time seeing the house cry, the boss will scold them later. Suddenly, a few security guards entered through the door. She entered in high heels. She immediately drew the attention of every gambler in the room. She ordered the staff, step back. She swept a cold, sharp gaze across the room. She fixed her eyes on Jiang Shan, the one seen as the threat. Jiang Shan felt her figure looked familiar. The long-haired man introduced. Miss Noyama Chizuru will serve everyone. Jiang Shan recognized. She was originally part of the Golden Triangle. She placed her hand on the dice box and said, Ladies and gentlemen, Noyama coldly ordered preparations for placing bets. On May 17 inches, Shibuya, Tokyo, two men chatted in a shop. Did the department head really say that? That's strange. The kimono-clad girl shyly asked. It's noisy. Is it okay? She poured sake and said, Noisy, dangerous. Chaos breeds opportunity. This is Shibuya at night. She wondered. This kind of firework is very rare. Isn't it? Jiang Shan sipped and answered. Yes, Chizuru suddenly said. Don't close your eyes. Jiang Shan, confused. What? She stomped her foot on the table, eyes sharp. She touched his cheek. Your eyes are like a wolf's. I like this coldness, keep looking at me like that. Jiang Shan brushed her hand off and thought. Chizuru is like a dangerous cat. She smiled. Cats don't want to know secrets. They just want to have a good time with you tonight. That night, drunk, she said. Listening to the dice is really like hearing the dice's breath, sensing the subtle language of the opponent's muscles, like sensing her heartbeat. Jiang Shan realized the dice-throwing trick. Monitor breathing and muscles. Chizuru shook the cup harder. Jiang Shan closed his eyes to feel the motion. He opened his eyes and watched Chizuru's gestures. He observed the arm relaxing, muscles tensing, the folds on her body. Suddenly, She set the dice on the table and said, "Sir, please." Jiang Shan only needed to wait. Jiang Shan bet all his money, everything on triple threes. The crowd was stunned, unable to believe he bet it all. He coldly told Chizuru to lift the dice cup. Chizuru froze, her hand trembling. When she lifted the cup, all the dice showed 3. The players were all astonished. The yellow-haired guy was also stunned, speechless. The payout doubled over 5 million. Everyone was amazed, calling him a gambling god. While Master Hu frowned, he looked at her, meeting again amid the chaos. Jiang Shan thanked Chizuru. On the surveillance screen, Jin Hu shouted crazily, "Who's sabotaging my casino?" A staff member ran over and reported, "Master Hu, I've clearly seen that person." Master Hu was shocked to hear, "The saboteur is the student who bought his bar." Master Hu angrily, "He bought my bar and still wins my money. What kind of royal method is this?" Master Hu ordered, "A bow, a hu. Come with me, clean this guy out to the roots." Jiang Shan asked, "Sir, convert everything to cash?" He nodded. "Yes, quickly, Dongjie, it's your turn." Suddenly, Jin Hu appeared behind him, growling, "The casino saboteur trying to run?" Master Hu shouted, "Cut him down," then raised a blade. The casino suddenly plunged into darkness. Everyone panicked. Hu turned off the lights. "Restore power now." After a moment, the power came back on. "Ah, power's back." They looked around for Jin Hu. "Manager, where's Master Hu?" Unexpectedly, Jin Hu lay face down on the floor among the crowd. Jiang Shan seized the chance, struck hard, then signaled, "Dongjie, let's get out." Sister Rabbit appeared. "What are you doing at the electrical box, kid?" A few thugs followed behind. Sister Rabbit threatened, "Are you looking to die?" Jiang Shan turned back. "Auntie, move aside. I have to go home. Don't call me auntie." He barked, "Return the casino's money now. Got it, Sister Le." They brandished crowbars and machetes around him, threatening, "Kid, hand over the money obediently, or don't blame us." Jiang Shan sighed, unafraid. "I don't want to offend women," she scowled. "Offend you? The person you should worry about upsetting is Master Hu." He smiled, dropped 2 suitcases of cash and said, "The rabbit dares to risk its life for the tiger. No problem." Jiang Shan had his moves ready. Assuming a fighting stance, he said, "It's just a few extra lackeys." Jiang Shan stepped into the fray, coldly. "If you want to fight, all at once," one man snapped angrily. "You're really cocky." Then the crowd surged forward, aiming to take Jiang Shan down first. They were stopped as soon as they rushed in, unable to land a blow. Even armed, they were still subdued by Jiang Shan. Jiang Shan, irritated, concentrated power into a punch. He threw a punch that sent the loudmouth flying several meters. The 2 remaining men panicked, faces ashen. Jiang Shan asked coldly, "What about you guys? Want to take them on one by one?" He said menacingly. They went pale, not daring to move. They conferred, "If we lose, we lose. Let's all go for it." Jiang Shan grew more excited, feeling superior. Jiang Shan sprang up and executed a sweeping move to clear out the weaklings. He took both down, kneeled into the yellow hair guy's neck, then stomped to break the other's neck. After finishing, he casually dusted his clothes off. Sister Rabbit panicked, unable to believe her subordinates were felled so easily. Jiang Shan walked forward slowly. "It's your turn now." She fled in a panic, losing her shoes. Jiang Shan watched with amusement. At that moment, Deng Jie ran over calling, "Shanzi, done yet?" Jiang Shan asked back, "Where are you going?" He said, "I found their backup power source, so I cut the power to the whole block." The short-haired student boasted, "I'm awesome." Jiang Shan nodded. "Right," the short-haired student joked. "Maybe drop out and become a criminal full-time." Jiang Shan was at a loss, advised, "Go, leave here quickly." The short-haired student kept teasing, "Shanzi, well, agree?" At the same time, Sister Rabbit tried to run. Why is the whole street without power? When she saw her crew standing before her, she sighed in relief. "Good, everyone's here. Manager, call reinforcements. Those kids are useless." Suddenly the man raised his hand. He slapped her hard. "You ragged piece of trash. Let it go, what act are you putting on?" She fell, clutching her face, protesting. "Manager, I didn't do it." He replied, "I saw clearly on camera that you colluded with him." She pleaded in indignation. "It can't be. I'm loyal to Master Hu, though." The man raged. "I just need someone to take responsibility, drag her out and interrogate her hard. I don't believe she doesn't know that kid." Sister Rabbit burst into tears, pleading, "Manager, please don't. I didn't do it." Only her desperate screams echoed. The next morning at school, class, open to page 17, knowing that A is parallel to B, Jiang Shan hid his private matters behind a stack of books. considering buying back the old neighborhood. Jinhu was busy. Old Dong's progress was fine but shouldn't be too greedy. If news of the demolition spreads, land prices will rise and attract competitors. We must know when to stop. Once we have the money, the next step is to set up a security company and recruit a few experts who have faced the Chen clan. The teacher suddenly called, Jiangshan, answer this. Do F and A intersect? He froze, thinking it was another subject, muttering, Banana. The teacher sighed. Hopeless. If you don't listen in class, how do you expect to pass the college entrance exam? Jiangshan put on a pitiful look. I heard it already. The teacher, annoyed. No need to talk, the teacher said. The monthly exam is coming. From now on you must attend extra classes after school. Jiangshan, irritated. Why only me? The guy next to me is worse. The teacher smiled. Then listen to what he says. The short-haired student was spouting advanced formulas that Jiangshan couldn't understand at all. The teacher said, if you're top 4 in the grade, you can sleep any time. Jiangshan was stunned. Top 4, really? After class, the students hurriedly left. In another area of the school, a voice called, Jiangshan, you're late. He wearily replied, All right. He grumbled. Even extra class checks for lateness now. She gently said, Good habits are a good start, don't complain. Jiangshan was surprised to hear a familiar voice. He asked, Why is it you? Lam Hai smiled. So why shouldn't it be me? Jiangshan surprised, You also attend extra classes? Lam Hai replied, No, I'm the tutor. Jiangshan was stunned. We're both students, how are you the teacher? She smiled. Because I'm top of the grade, Jiangshan muttered to himself. What a monster. Lam Hai stood on tiptoe, giggling. And because I had the courage after learning you'd be here, so I asked the principal to let me be this class's tutor. Work hard, classmate Jiangshan. Lam Hai grabbed his tie with a suggestive tone. Classmate Jiang, I'm here because of you. She suddenly pulled him close. She leaned close to his ear and whispered, You must obey the teacher. Jiangshan blushed from the proximity. She laughed. Your ears are red, she continued to tease. Your face is usually so cold, who knew you'd get shy? He stepped back in a panic. We're here for extra class, what are you doing? She switched to a lecturing tone. If your weight is A and my pulling force is B, guess what? Which left him utterly blank, he pleaded. Teach me math first, she released him. Okay, we'll start with functions first. He panted, annoyed. After a while, she began writing on the board. Lam He glanced down at Jiangshan sitting quietly in the class. She unconsciously blushed. She said, Jiangshan, try finding the domain of this problem. He raised his hand. What's the domain? Which left her stunned. He avoided her gaze, thinking to himself, I learned it, but in a past life. She sighed, stepped down, ready to tutor him one-on-one. She stood by his desk. Let me explain step by step, he replied. Okay. But stand a little farther back. She fiddled with his bangs. Don't worry, I won't pull your tie anymore. Your long hair is in your eyes, let me clip it back for you. He gently pulled his hand away. No need, study. She raised an eyebrow. Oh, you sure like studying, huh? He was annoyed, thinking to himself, no way that's happening. He thought, what haven't I experienced? Why be afraid of a girl? Time passed, and dusk began to fall. He sighed softly. Lam Hai reminded him, remember to review today's lesson. She threatened, otherwise I'll tutor you privately. He shivered. Okay, stay away. She changed the subject. It's really hot today, he replied nonchalantly. I can handle it. The two walked the same way. She called, Jiangshan, he. She slowed down, looking sad. Do you hate me? He was surprised. She looked up, worried. Not hate at all? Do you have any feelings for me? She confessed plainly, I like you. Jiangshan was surprised, slightly flustered. What? She gathered her courage and stated more clearly, I like you since you saved me. Jiangshan gradually calmed down. He looked at her, realizing she was trying to attract him, a bit childish. She hesitated and called his name. She asked directly, Do you like me? His heart paused for a moment. He sighed and declined. I'm sorry. Lam Hai, he explained clearly. We're different. I don't want to drag you into my matters. Despite the rejection, Lam Hai persisted. If it's for studying, I can help you. Wait for me, Jiangshan. Scene change. That night, in a luxurious villa, a man sipped his drink and said slowly, Uncle Hu, you're disappointing me. Jinhu knelt on the ground frantically apologizing. Jinhu explained, That kid is strange. He broke my arms and legs. The man calmly said, I don't need the process. I only need results. He turned around, revealing himself as the one who had killed Jiang Shan in a past life. Still handsome. He said, "Those buildings are strategic positions. My father values them highly." Jinhu panicked and hit his head. "I'll take them back. Please, Xiao Chen, give me another chance." Xiao Chen lifted Jinhu's chin. "There's a chance, but remember this well." He set the glass down in front of Jinhu, coldly. "Here." The glass shattered, red wine spreading across the table. He leaned in to warn him. "Mess up again and you'll lose your head. Get out and finish the job." Jinhu clutched his head and ran off. "Yes, thank you, Xiao Chen." He took a new glass. He poured more wine, his movements slow. He sat down and sipped his drink. Jiang Shan, that nameless kid who dared oppose the Chen family, interesting. As he swirled his glass, he mentioned the name Jiang Shan. He laughed scornfully. Where did this trashy name come from? He said Jiang Shan should be made to taste the Chen clan's methods. Outside, someone hurriedly supported Jinhu, begging him to slow down. Jinhu complained irritably about his aching legs and ordered them to take good care of his limited edition shoes. He barked, "Serve me like you serve your father." The man beside him replied, "Yes." Suddenly, he discovered a bug chip in his shoe and cursed his useless subordinates. He scolded his men as useless and urged them to carry out the task Xiao Chen assigned, unaware that Jiang Shan had already planted a tracking chip. The henchman turned pale and asked, "Which Xiao Chen?" and was reprimanded for his ignorance. He said the Chen clan has only one Xiao Chen, Chen Vu, the clan's only son. Jiang Shan muttered a curse under his breath. "You mongrel." He couldn't hold back and shouted, "Finally found you." He threw off the earpiece. "Blood for blood, I'll kill you." The next morning, dressed in black, Jiang Shan begged a soldier, "Could you help me throw the shell casings out?" The soldier snapped, "Who is the boss?" "I'm not convinced." The soldier was annoyed, but complied. "Throw casings? Idiot. Know your limits." He gave a strong toss, flinging the casing far. The casing flew straight toward Jiang Shan. Jiang Shan had time to raise his gun and take aim. He shot and hit the casing. A round struck and detonated, splitting the casing in two. Everyone present stared in astonishment. They marveled at how cool Jiang Shan looked, shooting one-handed. The soldier was stunned. Cheng Shan sneered, "Stop pretending tough, aren't you ashamed?" Jiang Shan replied nonchalantly, "If you're not convinced, we'll do it again. This time I'll shoot with my eyes closed." Cheng Shan excitedly shoved the soldier aside and praised, "Ignore them. I believe it now. This kid is like a gun god. Has he never trained?" He fell silent, thinking to himself he might have exaggerated. He only shot a balloon. After all, Cheng Shan took him at his word. "Balloons? I'll have the men practice," he stammered. Surprised they believed him, he said plainly, "I'm here to ask you for an important favor." The man nodded. "Say it. As long as it's within rules, I'll help." Jiang Shan declared, "I want to establish a security company and recruit discharged soldiers. I want to hire the best, give them a place to excel, fair pay, and dignified lives. They've sacrificed a lot and don't deserve to be crushed by life. That force would also help maintain local order and eliminate harmful elements." Hearing this, the man smiled with approval. Young but thoughtful, he said, "Tell me plainly what you want me to do." Jiang Shan brightened at that. He said, "I need reliable manpower and your help assessing their aptitudes." The man jotted it down and replied, "I'll handle the aptitude. I'll also give you the address of the Veterans Liaison Station." He rejoiced. "Thank you, Advisor Hatch." The man clapped his shoulder. "Be bold and make a name for yourself. If you run into trouble, come find me anytime." Having achieved his first goal, Chen Shan smiled inwardly and called, "Tran Vu, your nightmare has begun."